Welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis, and with me, as always, is June Liu. How you doing, June?
Good, man. Just came back from Chicago Herf. Ate a lot of Italian beef sandwiches and crapping it out now that I'm back.
Yeah. So today we are talking about the Warped Maestro Del Tiempo 6102R. This is a Robusto-ish cigar, 5 1/4 inches by 48 ring gauge. Comes out of the Tabsa factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper is Corojo 99 Clara. The binder is from Condega, and the filler is Criollo 98 and Corojo 99. Blended by Kyle Gellis. Price point is $10.50, and this cigar came out in July of 2016. With cigar details out of the way, June, what was your pre-light experience like?
It was overall good pre-light experience. I thought the wrapper had a smooth and semi-oily Colorado Claro kind of a shade. There was like a uniform, lumpy, and kind of a slightly veiny feel to the whole cigar. Seams are tight and invisible. And it was interesting because when I was kind of feeling through the cigar with my fingers, there was absolutely no give to the entire cigar. It's actually like rock hard. And I thought, hopefully that will have no bearing on the draw or just construction in general. Going to the pre-light nosing experience, wrapper smelled of a mixture of floral, white pepper, barnyard. When I smelled the foot, I got some white pepper and some roasted nuttiness. Cold draw, I got cardboard nuts, like a generic dry wood.
That was it pre-light.
Yeah.
So for me, wrapper was like a lighter brown. Had a couple of medium-sized veins. There was a patchwork of like fine veins that were carried like a lighter color to them. It kind of gave like a nice look to the wrapper with like the crisscross there. Seams are very smooth, nearly invisible. Appears to be like three very well applied caps. Two bands. Top band's purple and gold, carries the line name, and the lower band is blue and gold and carries the company name on it. I can't say I was able to really detect any aroma from the wrapper, but the foot was just like a very faint hay, and pre-light draw was a mild leather with just a little bit of a pepper to it. So getting into the flavor experience, what was your experience like?
The first third, starting with, it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. So really great depth of flavors. I got toasted bread, like a tongue layering black pepper, some dry cinnamon, cream and nuts. And then about a 1/4 inch in, I got this really consistent floral note. And that mixed with the cream really well. And typically when I get like a floral note on the cigar, I rarely get it consistently through the mouth draws. And also it works such that it mixed with the other profile of the flavors really well. On the nose, pretty intense, black pepper, but it was good in the sense that it kind of woke me up.
Mhm.
Some elevated levels of cream and nuts and cedar. Finish long and lingering with black pepper weighing on the entire tongue and on the back palate. Dry nuttiness, faint wood bitterness. There's a strength, somewhere between medium and medium full. Moving on to the second third, the only notable thing on the second third is everything stayed consistent. Aside from the floor note, I was no longer getting that. Moving on to the last third, it took another turn in the sense that the cream, nuts, black pepper, dry wood, and that wood bitterness became the main profile. That dry cinnamon and that toasted bread was more like a secondary note. Same retro, but the finish was now primarily lingering notes of cream and nuts, dry wood and wood bitterness, and the strength, was within the first two thirds. It was kind of between between medium and medium full.
Mhm.
By the time it got to the last third, it was a consistent medium full, and the body was still at the medium mark.
Yeah, right when it started off for me, I got like a really big dose of spicy cinnamon, and then like kind of half inch in, that cinnamon settled down a little bit, and I was getting a bit of a woody note that was peeking out in the background. Three-quarters of an inch in, that cinnamon subsided even more, and it became even with the wood. But the retrohale was like still had like a bit of a creamy cinnamon to it, which was really nice. At an inch in, cinnamon faded into the background. Woodiness kind of became a little bit more defined as oak, and it was a little drying. But as the third was finishing, a little bit of cream joined in to go along with that oak and the light cinnamon. Strength was right at the medium level for me. Second, third, still a nice mix of creamy oak and cinnamon. Quarter inch in, cream increased. Cinnamon kind of stayed at the same level it was at. Three-quarters of an inch in, a little bit of bitterness joined back in on that profile. But at an inch in, the bitterness kind of ramped up and it took the lead. And that creamy oak was in the background. And the cinnamon had completely left the profile. But as the third was finishing, that bitterness settled down and the cigar warmed up and it really enhanced that oak flavor. And the strength had bumped up just a little bit to be slightly above medium. And then getting to the final third, warm oak, a little bitterness in the background, but a quarter inch in, some cream came in to mix well with that warm oak, and it pushed the bitterness out of the profile. Three-quarters of an inch in, still slightly creamy oak, retrohale's oak, a little spice to it, and it's kind of how the cigar finished out for me, and the strength kind of stayed at that slightly above medium level. So getting into performance, what was your performance like, burn and draw?
Burn and draw was both perfect. Starting with the burn, I smoked the Robusto H size for 2 hours, which is really good. Razor sharp burn line all the way through. Ashes held on top with no flowering, averaging 1 inch increments. Draw was perfect, just the right amount of pull. It burned cool all the way through until I put the cigar out. So the construction was a little surprising because I typically don't get really good constructed cigars out of the Warped line. So this was perhaps the first one I ever got.
Yeah. For me, the burn was perfect through the first half, and then the burn got off a little bit. I felt it going out on me at one point in the second half of the cigar, so I just touched it up real quick to keep it going. I just didn't want to let it get too far, have it go out, have to do a relight. But once I did just kind of touch it up real quick, it stayed on the rest of the way. And just like you, kind of ash was holding on about 1 inch increments. Draw was just a little slightly tighter than I prefer, but it nothing really to complain about. It didn't cause any issues, so it was very good overall. So what were your overall thoughts on the cigar?
I loved it. I think this is my news so far. Being what is this, like mid-December or early December? Is my number one cigar so far. Score wise, this is the first time I gave an amazing on on actual flavor experience, i.e., the first, second, or last third of the smoking experience. And that speaks volumes. Let me go back. This is the first time I give an amazing off of a non-Cuban cigar,
Right.
On our website. So, that shows tremendous, So yeah, I mean, I feel like in general, especially with the cigar geeks out there, a lot of folks like Warped stuff, and really what makes Warped is agnostic tobacco, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this one I feel like steps up above a notch from the other ones, because I feel like this one gave that much that deeper oomph, and flavors and nuances and complexities, and it melded so well, and it gives such really great distinctive flavors. I definitely am looking for a box of these, but before I buy box, I want to smoke that other the Maestro Tiempo first.
Yeah, we have another size that we're going to be able to review to see how they kind of compare. For me, this is one of the rare cigars where I don't feel like the final third drops off in enjoyment. Typically, for me, the final third always is a little bit of a letdown from what you've experienced earlier on in the cigar, whether it's just kind of heating up, whatever the physics are of the cigar burning down and you having kind of all that buildup of smoke and heat and things like that in the final third. I didn't really have that in this cigar, which I think is awesome. There were some transitions. Each third was equally enjoyable, though, so that's fantastic. And the strength level was right in the middle So I don't think it's going to be, too far off from most people's strength profile. So I think this is a really nice addition to the Warp profile portfolio. And it's, like it's definitely a cigar that I'll smoke again. And since you're going to buy a box, I'll bum a couple off you to smoke some more of. So
Oh man.
that's always nice. So getting into scores, you gave this a 9 even, like you said, the highest score you've ever given. I gave it a 7 even. So how do you think your score matched up with your review?
Wow, I broke 9 finally, huh?
Yep.
Wow. I was actually wondering if I would ever break that this year.
Yeah.
Apparently I did. I think it matched well. I mean, I feel like I smoked some really good cigars this year.
Mm-hmm.
But especially knowing that and how well this guy scored, it's awesome. I mean, it makes total sense because it's one of the cream of the crops of what I've smoked, and that 9 perfectly wraps it up.
Yeah, I think my score matches up well too. Like I said, that flavor profile and the kind of the enjoyment level kind of stayed even the whole way. So that was really good. There wasn't any kind of drop off. So that worked out really well. I mean, for me, Warped hasn't really hit my profile. I love Agnorsa tobacco, but I don't know, there's just something with the Warped line. And I haven't smoked everything in the portfolio, so I just want to preface that. But the few that I have smoked, I think this is probably my favorite from what I've smoked from Kyle so far. Really nice. And I'm really interested in trying the other sizes in this line just to see, because I've seen some other reviews out there, and I think a fair amount of them, people that have smoked the various Vitolas, have actually enjoyed the others more than they've enjoyed this one. So I'm really curious to see if that kind of trend continues for me or not. Because if it's even better than this, then I'm definitely looking forward to that. But interested in giving that a shot. And one other thing I wanted to bring up is, did you notice that the wrapper was pretty fragile on your cigar? Because it was on mine.
I mean, in the middle of me smoking it, I had a little flake of the wrapper that kind of came off a little
Right.
bit, but it burned right through it. I didn't have to touch it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that, Aganorsa wrapper of using, the Corojo and just in general is really fragile. It's really flavorful, which I could attest to and I agree with, but it is very fragile. I mean, I get especially with that on a lot of the Illusione Dion stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a little chip right at the foot of mine. I think that happened probably in shipping, but it didn't cause any issues. It burned right through that right away. But kind of when I was smoking that final third, I was getting a little bit of wrapper that was flaking off kind of when I was, and maybe it's just, me being a little rough with it, it being a little wet, it being in my mouth kind of thing. And then use my fingers and it just kind of like stuck to my fingers and came off a little bit. But it didn't cause any issues. It was something that stood out to me, even though it didn't really affect the experience at all. So in my written review, I just kind of made a note that people should kind of, be aware of it, take care of it. If you drop it while you're smoking it, I'm sure it'll probably, crack or a little piece will come off or something like that. So just be gentle with the cigar.
This is the Claro. Like when he described this wrapper, it's like something Claro, right?
Yeah, it's Clara is how it's listed.
I remember.
So,
I think back to Illusione and like the Epernay. It's like a Claro wrapper too, and those are really notoriously fragile.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. So any other final thoughts on this cigar from you?
It's kind of when I was smoking this and I was giving that amazing score on the first third, I thought to myself, all right, why did this warrant it and nothing else has?
Mm-hmm.
And I still kind of think about that, talking about it. It's hard because writing down flavored notes is very difficult to sometimes for me to correlate it to the actual wow factor of the cigar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this one for sure hit it for me. But
fantastic. Well, thank you everybody for watching. If you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, but also go to the website developingpalates.com to read the full written review, and follow us on all the social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next video.